Hello, and welcome to this webinar. This gentleman here is Timo Rossi. He's my colleague from Jakamo. And we will have today a dialogue about supply chain sustainability. This webinar will be recorded and published in Jakamo's YouTube channel. So please share it to your colleagues or someone you know who is interested about the topic. But let's start the dialogue, Timo. It's a pleasure to have this day finally when we can talk about this really important topic. But would you please introduce yourself briefly?
Yes, of course. Hello everyone, my name is Timo Rossi. I'm the Chief Business Design Officer and one of the co-founders of Jakamo. And I have been recently working around this topic, sustainability, for especially supply chain sustainability of manufacturing companies, a lot with our customers. So it's a great honor to be here today.
Thanks. Yeah, and exactly. We have been discussing lots with our customers about this topic, and now it's great to share those thoughts we have got there and ideas, and we see those are really inspiring discussions we have had with our customers. But let's start first with the question why. Why is this topic so important? Why is sustainability today so important topic?
Yeah, I think that it's a self-evidence that sustainability is the biggest megatrend of our era. So not one of the biggest, but actually it's the biggest one, definitely. It has been shown with scientific evidence, of course, like IPCC report, Dasgupta review, and so on. But we have also sadly seen it with our own eyes. There has been like exceptional natural disasters lately, floods, forest fires, heat waves, and so on, which have been impacting on people's personal life also a lot. So it's important to understand that climate change is not something that will happen in 2030, 2050, 2100. It's happening now step by step, incrementally, like every day. And it has been great to see that regions, countries, organizations, companies, cities, they have been given like a very ambitious commitments regarding sustainability. But what's the situation now is that now we need some like a concrete actions. Commitments are good, but now we need to fulfill what everyone has promised, basically.
Yes, but how it's that's obvious. But how it's related to manufacturing? What is the concrete actions or approaches to manufacturing industry and especially the supply chain? Can you give an insight of that?
Yes, definitely. So if we think about that issue in general level, first of all, there is new regulation coming on that field. For example, the European Union is nowadays having some new legislations under progress, under preparation. Also, what becomes to money and investments and loans, there's also a bit like a mindset change. Like leading banks, for example, Nordea, Bank of America, but also like funds and VCs like BlackRock, for example, they have been given that kind of commitments that they will really require actions from their customers in the future. But also end customers of manufacturing companies. Some leading companies have publicly said very ambitious sustainability targets internally, but also at the supply chain level. For example, ABB and Kone are kind of like leading companies on that sector in Nordics. So basically, if you are not taking this sustainability in focus as a manufacturing company, you will become like obsolete. You will basically have nothing to sell for the customers. You will not get any money for investments and so on. So that's why it's very like practically should be important all the companies.
Exactly. Have you some examples what our customers say? What kind of examples you have from there?
Yeah, we have been talking, as I said in the beginning, talking this topic a lot with our customers. And one interesting comment is that it's pretty well-known fact that from 50 to 80% of manufacturing companies' costs is coming from the supply chain. And what our customers are saying is that the same principle basically applies with the sustainability impacts. Doesn't matter if it's like environmental impact or social impact. So it's not enough to do things internally, but companies really need to act also in their business relations with their, of course, with their customers, but a lot also with their suppliers.
Exactly. Yeah. If we think that this topic, this theme, like you said, it's really important, and we have knowledge about it, and we can see that it's obvious that we need to do something. But if I have understood right, the results are quite poor. We haven't done yet so much, and we haven't done this kind of improvement in this area. Why not?
Yeah, we have been discussing this a lot with our customers and business leaders in manufacturing companies. And one comment from them is that it's so big and complex topic, this sustainability, that it's difficult for manufacturing companies to understand how to approach it.
How to start.
Exactly, what to do in the beginning, what kind of use cases there could be, and so on. So basically, that's the main problem there, I would say. Also, one important thing that they have mentioned is that they are lacking like a visibility and money stability also, because it's already difficult inside the company to manage sustainability actions, but it's like a way much more difficult to do it with your suppliers.
Exactly, yeah. If we think that some companies say that this will become or even is already our competitive advantage. So what kind of thoughts you have in that area? How can it be a competitive advantage for a company to improve their sustainability? What kind of examples you have there?
Yeah, like what the leading companies are doing on this topic. First of all, they are approaching it like very holistically. They are not just thinking that, okay, we need some recycling instruction. They are not thinking that kind of like only, of course they are also important, but they are not only thinking that kind of like a small improvements, but they are really like thinking it it's part of their like strategy and their daily operations. So basically what they are doing is that they are considering it as something that needs to be built in their company DNA, so to say. And they are also thinking that it's not like sustainability shouldn't be a responsibility of chief sustainability officer somewhere there, but it's responsibility of everyone in supply chain management, and of course also everyone in the whole company.
Yeah. And I think also the digital tools have a big role in this.
Yes, exactly. So what I said previously is that companies have been lacking visibility. They have been also like lacking money stability in these business relations. But also what they have been, what kind of problem they have been facing is that currently a huge amount of supply chain management people work time is going to manual processes. They are like typing in information and comparing it and sending reminders and so on. So basically there is nowadays not even time to focus on this kind of like a more value-adding things like improving sustainability, supplier compliance and so on. So new digital tools like, for example, Jakamo as a supplier experience platform is giving like a huge improvement on that field by giving visibility, improving this communication, bringing some new concrete use cases that kind of like to bring the concrete actions there and so on.
About the concrete actions, I need to ask this because there were so many things you mentioned that it can be a big like a too big ball to handle, and I know that you have been building this kind of sustainability, supply chain sustainability concept, and perhaps you could present that to give like a approach or give an approach to this team a little bit like it's easier to handle it.
Yeah. You are very right that it's so big and complex that it's difficult to approach, and we have had like many like complex discussions with our customers regarding that, and we have tried to conclude all these discussions, all these problems, all these approaches, all these ideas to that kind of like a concept, and we have basically found like 3 main themes which are the baseline in this concept. They are, first of all, supplier compliance, secondly, sustainability innovation, and thirdly, operative sustainability of the supply chain. And what these mean in practice, these 3 themes, is that first of all, this supplier compliance means that companies need to be able to manage.
Just go on.
Sorry. Companies need to be able to manage their supplier base in terms of sustainability. So basically, they need to be able to manage their suppliers, their supplier relations, so that they can trust that suppliers can fulfill the requirements that they are giving and the end customers of them are giving. And one practical example of that is, for example, different kind of like audits. If you are auditing, ensuring, for example, your suppliers' sustainability in terms of diversity and inclusion, for example, or you are having evidence that they are having ISO 14000 and that kind of things. So the supplier compliance is putting all this information together. They can be like tens of kind of like parameters on that, depending on your company and your requirements. So it's putting all of this in a manageable form. The second thing, the sustainability innovation, it's basically means that you need to be able to develop also the things together with your suppliers to become even better. Like you have some basic level where you are now, but you probably want to be there in the future. And some practical example of this sustainability innovation collaboration is, for example, DFS, Design for Sustainability. You can develop your products together with your suppliers so that they are better in terms of energy efficiency. They have like a lower CO2 footprint and so on. But also it can be something regarding like a social responsibility, like improving diversity and inclusion footprint of your suppliers together with them. So can have a huge impact in terms of development.
Yeah.
And third, there is this operative sustainability, and it means basically the daily operations. Like when you are ordering something, suppliers are confirming they are like delivering the goods that you have ordered. It's related to this process, and basically some practical example could be the traceability of materials there. You can get the certificates from the suppliers in a manageable way, or you want to fulfill these ROS and REACH chemical directives, so you can also manage that information there. Or what our customers have recently said that their end customers are requesting carbon reporting at position level.
Yeah.
So that's also something very practical, not to fill in Excels, but like as a part of this normal order process to collect this information, and it's then ready to report for reporting to your end customers.
Yeah, thanks. You have written a blog post about this, and you present these these three topics: supplier compliance, sustainability innovation, and operative sustainability in that blog, and you have several examples and actually a table where you can find the use cases there. And
yes.
I recommend everyone to read that blog post, which is found from Jakamo's website and from our online magazine supplierexperience.com as well. Okay, but we always want to have some tips.
Yes.
And if you think that I would be a manager of manufacturing company, and I would like to start improve my company's supply chain sustainability, where should I start? What would be your recommendation to me how to approach this topic?
Yeah. First of all, I would advise to start immediately. As this like a pretty famous Chinese saying is saying that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best is to do it today. Yeah. So same applies with this supply chain sustainability, definitely. But what you can do in practice, it's very important to approach this topic holistically. To include all of these three themes that we discussed: this supplier compliance, sustainability innovation, and operative sustainability. And have under these both the strategic and operative side of your supply chain management, have environmental and social impacts, both of them, because they are both equally important. We are now talking more about the environmental aspects, but both should be included.
And am I right? If I start with these three themes, I automatically approach the topic from the strategic and operative side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a part.
Yeah. Built in
there. Yeah. So that's one very important point. Second important point is that as many of our customers are saying that they have been lacking suitable tools to manage this in business relations. So nowadays we have good digital tools like supplier experience platforms, for example, to handle it. And they are kind of like giving the manageability of these actions, development actions, compliance, operative things, and so on. And they are also giving the visibility so that you can really see what's going on there. The things that have been hidden in the previous life is now there available for you. And also what is important there is that with digital tools you can eliminate a lot of these manual work phases. So actually you can save like a 50% of purchasers' work time. And if you can put like 4 hours per day per person to something more value adding, that can, like for example, to sustainability development, that can have like a huge impact.
Yeah, and social impact as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay,
maybe
so
these are the two.
Yeah. Start immediately. Enable the digital tools and make everything holistically.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
That's my advice.
Thank you, Timo. This was a pleasure. And now we are going to start the Q&A part of this session, and let's see through the questions. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, let's start with the first question here. I can see that Minna has asked a question about that. Can a company get the sustainability action started alone, or do you need does it require all the companies in the supply chain? What do you think, Timo?
I think that they can definitely get started by themselves, but of course, to being successful on that sense, they need their supply chain there. So basically, they can like set up the requirements to their suppliers, set up their policies, and so on. But of course, these kind of like requirements and policies needs to be then implemented in the supply chain as well. So basically, you can't do supply chain sustainability alone. You need your whole network there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You mentioned that companies like ABB and KONE are like leaders in this area. But do you have some other examples of some other companies?
I think that I have, but unfortunately, I can't share them in public now. So it's like a confidential customer discussions. But these two companies, they have said it in public. They have announced their targets and commitments and so on.
Exactly. Then we have one other question which came directly to us, and about the size of the company. So is this only this sustainability like a commitment or actions for it? Is it only for the big companies, or what can small companies do for this theme?
Yeah, I think that definitely it's not only for large corporations. I think that of course they have been leading the way on supply chain sustainability. But if you are already thinking that most of the small and medium-sized companies, they are delivering to that kind of like large corporations. So it's already then like reflecting these corporations' decisions and requirements to them on that way. And of course, they need to communicate and the same principles to their supply chain.
Exactly.
So I think that these large corporations are kind of like leading the way and pushing the smaller ones, but each of the company, they should react on that. Exactly. And also if you think about the upcoming regulation in next year or maybe year after, that's also like requiring companies to take these things into account.
Exactly, and perhaps the smaller ones have a better possibility to find some kind of focus for the bigger targets, or find and recognize where we can act.
Yeah, exactly, because the supply chains are not so complex. They are not like tens of thousands of companies, but maybe like 20 suppliers in their network. Yeah, exactly.
Good. And yes, it looks beautiful here. Thank you. We are in Tampere now, and it's quite nice weather here. Do we have other questions here? Not for now. Okay. So Olaf asked here that can you repeat the digital tools you talked about?
Yeah, we were talking about the supplier experience platforms, and of course I have been working with Jakamo customers, so that's one tool that we are developing in sense of the sustainability currently a lot. And we are taking this kind of like a holistic view, this supply chain sustainability, and kind of like the enabling to utilize all of these three themes that we were talking about previously.
Yeah, exactly, including compliance things and something in innovation, like a supplier development, how the sustainability is approached from that perspective, and of course very big area is the operative sustainability. Exactly. For example, in purchase order information, how we can enrich the data of sustainability in direct purchases.
Exactly, where the daily work is basically happening.
So it's really important. It's not not a new feature or new like you need to do some extra work, but it's built in to the process. Yeah.
In the things that you are doing, or at least you should be doing in your supply chain, so it's part of these processes.
Yeah,
built in there.
And of course, one part of the digital tool perhaps is the auditing. So how you can audit in a way that the sustainability will be covered.
Exactly. So when you are setting some requirements, so you can also prove that your suppliers are following them and they are like valid with your thoughts.
Yeah, not only the documentation, but also the actions.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good question. Okay, I think we have answered all the questions. If there's not any other questions, I think we can end this webinar. What I want to say that you can find this webinar from Jakamo's YouTube channel. So if you want to share it to someone who want to know about the topic, so please you can do it from there. Thank you, Timo. This was a great pleasure.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to you, and thank you for everyone who is listening to us.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot, and hopefully we see face to face also someday.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.